Hello, Gena Zitlow. First episode of Ghost Encounters with Gena. So, a little bit about me. I am a real estate broker and I am also a medium. So, I have learned over the years to combine the two because I deal with environments and I deal with homes and offices all the time. And I'm a medium. So, obviously, I've experienced energy and I've experienced ghosts. Now, when we talk about ghosts, we're actually talking about souls that are stuck, a little bit different than a soul that has passed to the light. So I do mediumship around both. Some people can only see higher realmed spirits, and some people can see lower vibration, which is the souls that are stuck or ghosts. I happen to deal with both. So I do work with quite a few clients who have had family members or friends and other family that have passed on to the light, and they actually want healing or to be able to say goodbye or all those type things. So I help those people. It's immense healing for them, and it's such a blessing and an honor for me because I get to deal with very high vibration beings, and it's very healing for me, and I feel really good when I'm done. So it is a blessing that I get to do that work. Now, I do house healings and I actually move souls to the light. So this is going to be a very, very fun experiment. I felt like I just wanted to share my stories of ghost stories because this is real. A lot of people get wrapped up in the paranormal and they get wrapped up in the fear of demons and all this scary stuff. And I just want to let you know, a soul that's stuck, they're trying to get your attention. So they just need someone to talk to basically, and they need help. So that's what I do, and it's amazing. So anyway, story one. This is episode one, story one, and this is my friend. Actually, oh gosh, how do I even start the story? Okay, he went. We are massage therapists, so we tend to trade massages every now and then. And I had been over at his house, and we were talking one night about this ghost that he said that he had. And it was interesting because when we started talking about the ghost, it got really cold around us, which I thought was really cool. And we were both talking about it and giggling about, oh, he's here, he's listening. And it felt like male energy. So that's why we said it was a him. So anyway, fast forward months later, my friend calls me and he's like, hey, I have an issue. I need you to come over to the house and see if we can deal with it. So here's some of the things that had happened. He would be upstairs in his office and he would hear clanking in the kitchen. Now this was like the middle of the day. The ghost story stuff doesn't always happen late at night. And he would go downstairs and a cup would be flipped upside down in the drain thing. You know, when you dry it, it's face down, but it would be flipped up. So it was up and he had heard the clank. There was like footsteps, and he could hear footsteps downstairs when he was upstairs. And sometimes he would be downstairs and he would hear footsteps upstairs. Finally, the reason he called was his daughter was sitting in the living room and she got really creeped out because she felt energy. She felt like someone was there watching her, and it really kind of freaked her out. So my friend is like, can you come over and help us with this? And I said, sure, no problem. So I went over to the house and I walk the house and tune into the vibration of the house and tune into the energy, and then I'll tune into if there's any spirits or where they're hanging out in the house. Usually they hang out in certain areas. And interestingly enough, so he didn't really tell me what was going on. How I do this is I let the homeowner tell me after the fact. So I'll walk through the house, tell them what I found, what I saw, where I saw it, all that type fun stuff, and then I'll go back and have a conversation with the owner. So I walked the whole house, and there was quite a bit of energy in the upstairs master bathroom, like really crazy around the shower. And I thought that was really weird. And I could see a man. He was old and he had kind of overalls on, like farm days. farm days attire, and just a really thick, sludgy energy like in the bathroom. And then I walked into the master bedroom, and it felt like that's where he hung out, between the bathroom and the master bedroom. And I saw him in the master bedroom, and then he moved. So that was kind of his location, and that's where the energy was thickest in the house, was up in that master bathroom, and then the bedroom that was attached to the master bathroom. So I went downstairs and I walked the rest of the house, and he was actually hanging out by the fireplace in the living room, which I thought was really interesting. And this is where the daughter had experienced feeling that yucky, thick, kind of heavy energy. So I tuned in and discovered that he was an older man, and he was actually babysitting for his brother. His brother had gone to work, and he was hanging out with the daughter. The daughter was staying with him, and they had a whole bunch of land, and the land was right where this home was. So that's where ghosts sometimes go, is where it's familiar, what feels the same. So that's why he was still there. And the little girl was maybe 8 or 9. So here's the weird part. He looked exactly like my friend did, only an older version. So he would look like my friend would look when he was 80 years old, 70 or 80 years old. The little girl who I saw by the pond looked exactly like a little version of my friend's daughter, who had experienced the spirit as well. And that does happen quite often. If something's really familiar, then the ghost is going to go there, or the spirit is going to hang out in that location. So after, and here's what's interesting with spirits, like sometimes they don't want help. They want your attention, but they don't want help, and they really don't want to discuss it, because they either feel really guilty, they feel shame, they're super afraid, like it's really low vibration energy, and feeling like they are unworthy and they don't deserve anything. So the story went, he was actually babysitting his niece. His brother had gone into town. The niece was playing on the land, running around, and there was a pond. He wasn't paying attention. She had ended up tripping and falling. That part wasn't super clear. And excuse me, she had fallen into the pond and drowned. So the interesting thing is, he felt really guilty and really bad about it. So he was stuck. The little girl had already moved on, but the reason we could see her energy, or kind of see her, she had moved on to the other side, but she was coming back and forth trying to help this older gentleman. And after talking to him, he basically didn't feel worthy, didn't feel like he was loved. He felt really guilty and really bad for what happened with his niece. And he had been estranged from his brother the rest of his life. His brother had nothing to do with him after that. So it was just like a really crushing, sad story. And so I ended up talking to him and having a conversation with him. And basically, I helped raise his vibration through a conversation, and actually talked to him. And I work with angels, so we called in angels. And it was really beautiful, because the angel actually held out their hand, and he was ready. So he grabbed their hand, because moving a spirit to the light, it has to be free will. They have to choose to go. So he chose to go with the angel, and he left. So I could feel the energy and see the white light of him going to the light. So it was just a beautiful experience. And here's the cool part of the whole thing about the water in the pond. This is really interesting. And the girl, I had told you, the little girl looked just like the daughter of my friend. The ghost man looked like an older version of my friend. Well, 2 weeks prior to this, when all the noises had started and all this other stuff, my friend was up in his bathroom, and the whole shower exploded. Well, the whole piping, everything had to be replaced and fixed. And that's how the ghost was getting his attention regarding the story that was connected to the water. So that's why there was so much energy in that bathroom, because it was connected to the water in the pipes, which had to do with the ghost's connection to water in the pond because of his niece. So needless to say, we cleared everything that day. I saged the house, and he has moved on to the light, and my friend has not had any problems since. And it was just such a cool story, and my friend actually felt kind of honored that the ghost hung out with him because it reminded him so much of who he was. So I just thought that was cool. So ghost story number 1, there you are. Stay tuned. I have some crazy fun adventures that I will be sharing with you soon. So thank you so much for listening.